You ever do something good like, truly good and end up thinking, well, that backfired? Because that's exactly how my day started, or maybe it started years before, and I just didn't know it yet. All I can say is, giving up my first-class seat for a pregnant stranger on flight 2187 didn't feel like some act of heroism at the time. I wasn't looking for drama or gratitude or even karma points. I just couldn't stand to watch her struggling, belly out to here, face tight with pain, wedged in economy for a 2-hour flight to Chicago. So I stood up and did what my grandmother always said, if you have something extra, give it away. You know what I mean? I told the flight attendant, let her have my seat, I'll go back. Didn't even hesitate. The woman, Catherine Pearson, barely managed to thank you. More shock than gratitude, like she couldn't believe someone would just hand over first class like it was nothing. The crew was fussing, folks were staring, but I was used to being stared at, a black girl in faded jeans and a Howard sweatshirt, backpack slung over one shoulder, not quite fitting in with the business class crowd. Still, I could tell right away, as I squeezed into 21C in the back, this flight was about to get a whole lot weirder than leg cramps and bad airplane snacks. Let me back up a sec. My name's Jasmine Matthews. 19, pre-med at Howard, stubborn to a fault if you ask my mom. And that day, I wasn't flying to Chicago for fun, or for family, or even for school. I had this letter in my backpack, a letter I'd found hidden in my grandma's attic, stuffed inside an old shoebox, the kind of yellowed envelope you just know means trouble. The letter had turned everything I thought I knew about my family upside down, especially about my dad, the guy who lost his job as a pilot and became a ghost in our lives. That letter said the truth about why he lost his wings was still out there, buried under 30 years of silence. And it pointed to one name, Victoria Pearson. So, yeah, when I heard that pregnant woman introduce herself as Catherine Pearson, it rattled me. Pearson, same as the woman I was headed to find. Coincidence? Maybe. But the way her eyes flicked when she heard my name, the way she stiffened when I mentioned my dad, Jonathan Matthews, it felt like fate, or maybe something darker. I tried not to overthink it as I settled into my middle seat, squeezed between a teenager blasting hip-hop and a man built like a linebacker. Just my luck. But across the aisle, this older black woman, hair streaked with silver, sharp glasses, watched me like she saw straight through my skin. That was a good thing you did. Honey, she said, holding out her hand. Vera Johnson, Northwestern Sociology. We got a talking Howard grad herself back in the day. She didn't pry, but when she asked why I was headed to Chicago, I just said, family business. She nodded like she understood more than I was saying. Now, here's where the universe starts dropping hints like, if you're not paying attention, you miss them, but looking back, every moment was a breadcrumb. The whole flight, I kept replaying that weird exchange with Catherine, her white-knuckled grip on her boarding pass when I said my dad's name, the way her face turned sheet white, like I was a ghost. I plugged in my granddad's old Walkman to laugh. It still works, and let Tracy Chapman's Fast Car try to drown out the noise in my head. That song always takes me back, Dad teaching me to fly his little simulator, telling me I had the heart of a pilot, like I was born to break through clouds. But the reality was, my family was broken, my dad's career ruined by a scandal nobody wanted to talk about. And my mom, well, she just wanted to forget. But I couldn't. Not after reading that letter. So there I was, stuck between strangers, replaying old hurts, when suddenly all hell broke loose up front. A flight attendant rushed down the aisle, eyes wide. Something was wrong in first class. My heart stuttered. Catherine. I didn't even think. I just bolted up, blurting out, I'm a medical student, which was, a stretch, but who else was going to help? I found her slumped over, face ashen, breathing shallow, clutching her belly. The crew looked at me, desperate. She's 34 weeks, Catherine managed, voice shaking. Lightheaded, heart racing. My brain scrambled to remember everything from my first aid class. Check pulse, ask about food, look for signs of real danger. Turns out she hadn't eaten since sunrise, probably hypoglycemic. Get her some juice, crackers. I barked, doing my best future doctor impression. Within minutes, her color started coming back. That's when, out of nowhere, Catherine grabbed my wrist, pulled me close, and hissed, your father would be proud. The way she said it, like a code only we understood, It sent chills up my spine. Then, just as quickly, she shut Downey's darting, voice low. You should know not everyone believes what they said about your dad. The message was clear there was more to this story. I didn't get much time to process because the plane hit turbulence and the captain ordered everyone back to their seats. I stumbled down the aisle, my mind spinning. Catherine knew more than she was letting on, maybe even about Victoria. Vera gave me a knowing look when I passed. You get your answers? She asked. No, I whispered, but I think I'm finally asking the right questions. You ever notice how, when you finally start digging for truth, everything else starts unraveling? The captain announced we were diverting to Cincinnati because of storms. People groaned, but all I could think about was missing my chance to meet Victoria, if she was even still alive. When we landed, I kept my eyes on Catherine, following her at a distance as she slipped off the plane and headed for a quiet corner of the terminal. That's when the twist hit harder than turbulence. I overheard Catherine on the phone. She's here, Mom. Jonathan Matthews' daughter. That's when I realized Catherine was Victoria's daughter. All this time, the one person who could clear my dad's name was a step ahead, and somehow I'd walked right into their path. When I confronted Catherine, she looked scared but also relieved. She told me everything about her mom, about the threats, about a drug ring using the airline to move product, how my dad caught on and got framed for being drunk in the cockpit. All these years, Victoria had stayed silent, afraid. But now the man who ran the whole operation was dead. It was finally safe almost. Catherine handed me a pilot's pin me dad's wings. My mother kept this. She always believed someday she'd give it back when the truth came out. The whole time, my heart was pounding finally. Answers, right? But nothing's ever that simple. Just as we were about to board again, my phone buzzed me, Mom, frantic. Jasmine, you need to get away from them. Victoria Pearson was found dead this morning. Whoever you're with, it's not her. Ice water in my veins. I turned and saw the woman I'd thought was Victoria, eyes going hard, mask slipping away. I'd walked into a trap. Give me the letter, she demanded. Her partner blocked the exit, tension thick as smoke. I stalled, scanning for help, and thank God there was Vera, striding up, voice loud and commanding. Is there a problem here? That distraction gave me a split second to move, just as my father burst in from the doors, yelling my name. What followed was chaos. Me dad squaring off with the imposter, security rushing in, the real villains revealed. Alina Whitman, the widow of the man who ruined my father's life, and her accomplice. Police arrived, just in time, and as Alina was cuffed, she spat. You ruined everything. But the truth was finally out, the old drug ring exposed. My dad's innocence proven, Victoria's death avenged. Even as we gave statements to police, I was shaking, realizing how close I'd come to disappearing like so many witnesses before me. My mom flew to Chicago that night, her own testimony finally putting the last pieces together. For the first time in decades, my family sat at one table, not whole, not perfect, but honest at last. You know what sticks with me? How a small act of deceit given up to a stranger spiraled into redemption for a whole family. 6 months later, I graduated from Howard. My dad got his name cleared, his wings back. My mom and I talked more than we ever had. Vera came to my ceremony, a gentle reminder that sometimes the people you meet by chance are the ones who pull you out of the fire. But I keep thinking if I hadn't found that letter, if I hadn't acted on a nudge of kindness, would any of this have happened? Some truths, I guess, are just waiting to break through no matter how many years pass. And sometimes, seeking justice means stepping right into danger, trusting that the right people will have your back. Now, I have those golden wings pinned to my jacket, not as a pilot maybe one day, but as a survivor, a truth seeker, and a daughter who finally understands her parents. The past is messy, but the future? That's up to us. So what would you have done in my shoes? Would you have chased the truth, risked everything for justice, or let the past stay buried? Yeah, that happened. And maybe it's still happening in families and airports and quiet corners everywhere. Let me know what you think. Was it worth it? Or would you have just kept your seat and let the story end in silence?